This is the WJTS News. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Bill Potter reporting. Well, the intersection of 3rd Street and Newton Street in Jasper has been recently upgraded. You might remember it as a four-way stop, although now the intersection has traffic lights. The Indiana Department of Transportation has recently finished the stoplight at the intersection, and it should address congestion issues at 3rd and Newton in Jasper. So now beware, no longer a four-way stop, it is now a lighted stop. Be a permanent part of St. Mindred. Have your personal message inscribed in a brick paver that will be part of the beautiful area near the St. Mindred Community Center. It could be a great gift idea for a loved one, your own family or business, or in memory of friends of family. Whatever your choice, you can join the rest of the community by contributing to St. Mindred in a meaningful and lasting way. Orders will be taken for this round through February 28th, 2022, to be installed in the spring of 2022. Visit the Facebook page at facebook.com/St. Mindred, Indiana for more information, or to see the complete album of current pavers. Forms are also available by emailing WRITESTUFF, which is WRITSTUF at psci.net, or call 812-309-8523, 309-8523. Now that Christmas is over, many residents are taking down decorations. The DuBois County Solid Waste District reminds residents that they can recycle strands of old lights at the Solid Waste District Process Center and at the Jasper Rural King Store during regular hours through January 14th. Cardboard barrels are provided at the entry to the store and inside the SWCD Process Center. The program accepts strands of electric lights only, not rigid frames such as yard shapes. Recycling the strands with lights on them is fine, but boxes and bags of individual lights are not accepted. This recycling program is in cooperation with Jasper Salvage, Jasper Rural King, and the DuBois County Solid Waste District. The District Process Center is located at 1103 South 350 West. Regular hours are from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. Residents may call 482-7865 or email duboiscoswcd@psci.net for more information. The Jasper Rural King is located at 1920 Lubway Drive. Get ready to taste adventure in 2022 as the Girl Scouts introduce a new cookie. This year, cookie-loving consumers across the country can get a big taste of deliciousness and adventure with new Adventurefuls, the latest addition to the iconic Girl Scout cookie lineup. Adventurefuls are an indulgent brownie-inspired cookie with caramel-flavored cream and a hint of sea salt. Adventurefuls take cookie lovers on a delicious taste adventure, just like Girl Scouts go on their own amazing adventures all year long. To get your hands on an Adventureful, all of you have to do is order them. The Girl Scouts of Southwest Indiana are currently taking orders for cookies. Online orders are currently being taken until March 6th and can only be placed through an individual Girl Scout or troop. You can also visit cookie booths beginning February 7th. Thin Mints, Toastiers, Caramel Delights, peanut butter patties and peanut butter sandwiches, lemonades, shortbread, and the new Adventurefuls are all available for $5 a box. To order cookies, you need to find your favorite Girl Scout. If you need help finding a Girl Scout professional near you, you can find them online at girlscout-gssi.org. State Representative Wendy McNamara of Evansville in the 2022 legislative session will continue her fight to protect young human trafficking victims and strengthen criminal penalties against perpetrators. McNamara, a chair of the House Courts and Criminal Code Committee, authored a bill to allow young victims to provide recorded video statements instead of physically testifying in a courtroom where they are forced to relive past trauma. McNamara said this change would not only help protect young victims, but also remove an emotional hurdle so that more children are willing to testify against their perpetrators. Nearly 25 million people worldwide are victims of human trafficking, making it the fastest growing and second largest criminal industry, according to the U.S. State Department. In Indiana, there were 140 human trafficking cases reported in 2020, up 95 from 2017, according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Currently, Indiana law requires Hoosiers 15 years old or older at the time of a trial to testify in court. McNamara's proposal would allow survivors 14 years old or younger at the time of their assault to submit a video statement for court procedures if they are younger than 18 at the time of the trial. The legislation would also increase sentencing for perpetrators whose victims are under the age of 18 and rules out victim consent or belief that a victim was at least 18 years old as a legal defense. Local organizations and agencies would also begin reporting human trafficking cases to the Indiana Attorney General's office no more than 30 days after an investigation begins. In addition, McNamara's bill would close a legal loophole for individuals who pay a victim directly for sexual acts. Currently, individuals who offer to or pay for sex acts can only be prosecuted with a level 5 felony if they pay the trafficker directly. According to law enforcement, it is difficult to prosecute suspects as the majority of transactions occur between the perpetrator and the victim. Lawmakers will consider McNamara's bill in the upcoming legislative session, which begins on January 4th. If someone is suspected to be a victim of human trafficking, it should be reported immediately to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, which is 1-888-373-7888, 1-888-373-7888. For more information, visit humantraffickinghotline.org. There will be a free presentation by Randy and Roxanne Mills on their book, Summer's Wind, A Soldier's Road from Indiana to Vietnam, at the Ferdinand Library on Wednesday, January 6th from 6 to 7 p.m. That's a week from now. Summer Wind, A Soldier's Road from Indiana to Vietnam tells the heartbreaking story of Richard Dick Wolf, a Princeton, Indiana youth who was killed in action on January 6, 1968, in a now forgotten battle of the Vietnam War. Wolf's story was preserved, however, in scores of letters sent to the family and friends from July 67 to January of 68. Dick Wolf's letters held little back and shed light on the complexities of an American Army rifle company in Vietnam at the apex of the war, revealing the budding friendships and bonding among the thrown-together group of young American men of Alpha Company. It also tells of how faith played an integral role in the journey. U.S. health officials on Monday cut isolation restrictions for asymptomatic Americans who catch the coronavirus from 10 to 5 days and similarly shortened the time that close contacts need to quarantine. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention officials said the guidance is in keeping with the growing evidence that people with the coronavirus are most infectious in the 2 days before and 3 days after symptoms develop. The decision also was driven by a recent surge in COVID-19 cases propelled by the Omicron variant. Early research suggests Omicron may cause milder illnesses than earlier versions of the coronavirus. But the sheer number of people becoming infected and therefore having to isolate or quarantine threatens to crush the ability of hospitals, airlines, and other businesses to stay open. Last week, the agency loosened the rules that previously called on healthcare workers to stay out of work for 10 days if they tested positive. The new recommendations say healthcare workers could go back to work after 7 days if they test negative and don't have symptoms. And the agency said isolation time could be cut to 5 days, even fewer if they are severe staffing shortages. Now the CDC is changing the isolation and quarantine guidance for the general public to be even less stringent. The change is aimed at people who are not experiencing symptoms. People with symptoms during isolation or who develop symptoms during quarantine are encouraged to stay home. The isolation rules are for people who are infected. They are the same for people who are unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, fully vaccinated, or boosted. The clock starts the day you test positive. An infected person should go into isolation for 5 days instead of the previously recommended 10 days. At the end of 5 days, if you have no symptoms, you can return to normal activities, but must wear a mask everywhere, even at home around others, for at least 5 more days. If you still have symptoms after isolating for 5 days, stay home until you feel better and then start your 5 days of wearing a mask at all times. The quarantine rules are for people who are in close contact with the infected person but not infected themselves. For quarantine, the clock starts the day someone is alerted they may have been exposed to the virus. Now the CDC is saying only people who got booster shots can skip quarantine if they wear a mask in all settings for at least 10 days. That's a change. Previously, people who were fully vaccinated could be exempt from quarantine. Now, people who got their initial shots but not boosters are in the same situation as those who are partially vaccinated or are not vaccinated at all. They can stop quarantine after 5 days if they wear a mask in all settings for 5 days afterward. The new CDC guidance is not a mandate. It is a recommendation to employers and state and local officials. Now stay tuned. WJTS News will continue in a moment with a look at your weather. And Joy Rail steps in with a look at sports.